Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat. For reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should respectfully offer obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, the goddess of fortune, Mother Sarasvati, and the author, Srila Vyasadeva. Hare Krishna. We are in the completion of the second canto, entitled The Cosmic Manifestation. And we are on chapter 10. I need to take that off. Chapter 10, entitled Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. And today we are reading from text 46. And we are going to go one word of Sanskrit at the time. I am to Brahmana, Kalpa, Savikalpa, Udarita, Vidhi, Sadharana, Yatra, Sarga, Prakrita, Vaikrita. I am to Brahmana Kalpa. Savikalpa Udarita. Vidhi Sadharano Yatra. Sarga Prakritya Vaikrita. I am to Brahmana Kalpa. Savikalpa Udarita. Vidhi Sadharano Yatra. Sarga Prakrita Vaikrita. I am to Brahmana Kalpa. Savikalpa Udarita. Vidhi Sadharano Yatra. Sarga Prakrita Vaikrita.
I am to Brahmana Kalpa. Savikalpa Udarita. Vidhi Sadharano Yatra. Sarga Prakrita Vaikrita.
I am to Brahmana Kalpa. Savikalpa Udahita. Vidhi Sadharano Yatra. Sarga Prakrita Vaikrita. I am to Brahmana Kalpa. Savikalpa Udarita. Vidhi Sadharano Yatra. Sarga Prakrita Vaikrita. I Ayam tu Brahmana Kalpa.
Ayam tu Brahmana Kalpa.
Savikalpa Udarita.
Savikalpa Udarita.
Vidhi Sadarana Yatra.
Vidhi Sadarana Yatra.
Sarga Prakrita Vaikritaha.
Sarga Prakrita Vaikritaha.
Someone that would like to chant online?
Ayam tu Brahmana Kalpa.
Ayam tu Brahmana Kalpa.
Savikalpa Udarita.
Savikalpa Udarita.
Vidhi Sadharano Yatra.
Vidhi Sadarano Yatra.
Sarga Prakrita Vaikrita.
Sarga Prakrita Vaikritaha.
Ayam tu Brahmana Kalpa.
Ayam tu Brahmana Kalpa.
Savikalpa Udaritaha.
Savikalpa Udaritaha.
Vidhi Sadarhano Yatra.
Vidhi Sadarano Yatra.
Sargaha Prakrita Vaikritaha.
Sarga Prakrita Vaikritaha.
Hare Krishna. Here in person we have Dear Govinda, Bhakta Dhruv, Bhakta Vishnu, and we have Nico here, Bhakta Nico, and online Bhakta Devan is here, Rukmini, Ladini, Parampara, Lakshmi Priya, Aaron, Shyama Priya, Charlene, Laura. So nice to have so many people from Europe and around here. Hare Krishna. So we are going to do one word at a time with the English translation. I am. This process of creation and annihilation.
This process of creation and annihilation.
Two. But. Brahmana. O Brahma. Kalpa. Is one day. Savikalpa. Along with the duration of the universes. Udaritaha. Exemplified. Vidhi. Regulative principles. Sadharana. In summary. Yatra. Wherein. Sarga. Creation. Prakrita. In the matter of material nature. Vaikrita. Disbursement. Translation. This process of creation and alienation described in summary herein is a regulative principle during the duration of Brahma's one day. It is also the regulative principle in the creation of Mahat, in which the material nature is dispersed. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. There are three different types of creation, called Mahakalpa, Vikalpa, and Kalpa. In the Mahakalpa, the Lord assumes the first Purusha incarnation as Karanodakashayi Vishnu, with all the potencies of the Mahatattva and the 16 principles of creative matter and instruments. The creative instruments are 11. The ingredients are 5, and all of them are produced of Mahat, or materialistic ego. This creation by the Lord in his feature of Karanodakashayi Vishnu are called Mahakalpa. The creation of Brahma and dispersion of the material ingredients are called Vikalpa, and the creation by Brahma in each day of his life is called Kalpa. Therefore, each day of Brahma is called a Kalpa, and there are 30 Kalpas in terms of Brahma's days. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8:17 as follows. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Ahavyad Brahmano Viduhu Ratim Yuga Sahasrantam Te Oratva Vidojanaha. In the upper planetary system, the duration of one complete day and night is equal to one complete year on this earth. This is accepted even by the modern scientists and attested by the astronauts. Similarly, in the region of still higher planetary systems, the duration of day and night is still greater than the heavenly planets. The 4 yugas are calculated in terms of the heavenly calendar and accordingly are 12,000 years in terms of the heavenly planets. This is called a Divya Yuga, and 1,000 Divya Yugas make one day of Brahma. The creation during the day of Brahma is called Kalpa, and the creation of Brahma is called Vikalpa. When Vikalpa are made possible by the breathing of Mahavishnu, this is called Mahakalpa. There are regular and systematic cycles of the Mahakalpas, Vikalpas and Kalpas. In answer to Maharaj Parikshit's question about them, Sukadev Goswami answered in a Prabhasa Kanda of the Skanda Purana. They are as follows. Pratama Sweta Kalpaksha Divyo Nilalorita Vamana Devaskityastu Tato Gantam Davopara Bhorava Panchama Bhokta Shastapana Iti Smita Saptamota Buddha Kalpa Kandapostama Uchate Sadyotana Vama Kalpa Ishano Dashama Smita Yana Ekadasha Bhoktas Tata Sarasvato Paraha Trayodasha Udanastu Gaudata Chaturdasha Koma Panchadasho Jya Purnamasi Prajapate Sabudaso Naransimastu Samadhistu Tatova Agyeyo Vishnuja Somakalpas Tatova Vadvimsho Bhavana Bhokta Supumamiti Chapava Vaikuntas Chaktisas Tadva Valikapas Tatova Saptavimsho Tavairajo Volikapas Tatava Maheshwaras Tata Bhoktas Tripuro Yatkagatita Pritikalpas Tato Shante Yabu Brahmanasmita. Therefore, the 30 kalpas of Brahma are Sweta Kalpa, Nilo Ita, 2, 3, Vamanadev, 4, Katantara, 5, Horava, 6, Prana, 7, Vitakalpa, 8, Kandarpa, 9, Sadyota, 10, Ishana, 11, Dhyana, 12, Sarasvata, 13, Udana, 14, Garuda, 15, Koma, 16, Nishima, 17, Samadhi, 18, Agyeya, 19, Vishnuja, 20, Sora, 21, Somakalpa, 22, Bhavana, 22, Supanama, 24, Vaikunta, 25 Arsisa, 26 Valkalpa, 27 Varaja, 28 Gorikalpa, 29 Maheshwara, 30 Kalpa. These are Brahma's day only, and he has to live months and years up to 100. So we can just imagine how many creations there are in Kalpas only. Then again, there are Vikalpas, which are generated by the breathing of Mahavishnu, as stated in the Brahma Samhita. Jivam Tiloma Vilaja Jagadandanata. The Brahmas live only during the breathing period of Mahavishnu. So the exhaling and inhaling of Vishnu are Mahakalpas. And all these are due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for no one else is the master of all creation. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyanajana Shalakaya Chakshurudmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtabitam Yena Bhutale Swayamupakadamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shigu Shiyuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagajatam Saganat Ragutatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Shah Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Ada Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Ade Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Yagi Priye Panchakalpataru Vyacha Kipa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachamine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paskachati Chatarine. This process of creation and annihilation described in summary herein is a regulative principle during the duration of Brahma's one day. It is also the regulative principle in the creation of Mahat, in which the material nature is dispersed. Hare Krishna. So I think it's a few days ago, maybe Friday or Thursday, Dear Govinda Prabhu asked me to give class today. And I read the second canto not so long ago. I started the Bhagavatam just as I was getting sick. And of course, for a few weeks I didn't read, but I read the second canto not so long ago. And I remember that I stumbled so much on that verse and purport. I really stumbled upon it. It's just like, some verse and purport, I can just accept that I won't understand. And of course, those shastras are not given to us for us to understand. We are not going to understand. We cannot even understand, how digestion is taking place inside our body, or how we are blinking our eyes. What to speak about understanding the creation and understanding beyond the creation, the spiritual world. We are not going to. So usually I read and I enjoy my reading, even if I don't really get anything. However, once in a while there is one verse and purport where I stumble and I just I want to understand. And then I was asked to give class on that verse. So that's interesting. So I did a lot of research and I'm going to share my research with you. Before I go there, so I want to speak about the Vedas. So the compiler of the Veda, the source of the Veda, and the goal of the Veda is all one and the same. Is to Krishna. It's Krishna, and it's really to help the conditioned soul come back to Krishna, come back to their original constitutional position. So we can ask ourselves, what does that have to do with me? Kalpa, Vikalpa, Mahakalpa, all the name of those kalpas, what does that have to do with me? You know, I'm going to work today, I'm going to deal with my wife and my children, I'm going to have my full life, I chanted my round, I get it, I get the morning program, I get getting up in the morning, but that, why? Why this? So that's the question we can start the class with. Why is it that we are given so many details about the creation? And so the Vedas are very vast, and the Vedas gives so much more information. We have information about everything, really starting like medicine. Some people know Ayurveda, medicine and chemistry, astronomy, even warfare, how to do the war, and atomic. And so the Vedas are so vast, and in a Bhagavad Gita, Krishna warned us, like, be careful with the flowery language of the Veda. We can get lost there. Why? Because we don't have the capacity to absorb the Veda while keeping track of the goal of the Veda. So then we have the Bhagavatam. At the beginning of the Bhagavatam, there is a story of Vyasadeva, who is the compiler of the Veda. And in that story of Vyasadeva, he feels really like it's a beginning of Kali Yuga, and he knows that in Kali Yuga, people have a very short memory and ability to understand. They are very agitated in general. Their mind is agitated. Who doesn't relate to that? We are not the crust of creation, really. People living in 2020 in Kali Yuga, they tend to be really short-fused, very tend to lack patience, lack and possibility of austerity, a lack of sacrifice. It's all like, as soon as there is pain, we need to make the pain go away. Why to speak about accepting pain for the sake of self-realization? So Vyasadeva knew that, and he felt very despondent, and that's when he came to his spiritual master Narada Muni, and together they co-created that Vyasadeva will compile the Bhagavatam. And the Bhagavatam is the cream of the Veda. It's the cream of the Veda. If we take all the Veda, then at the top, like if we take milk, then we let the milk settle. Then at the top of the milk, there is cream. So the Bhagavatam, that's what it is. If we let all the Vedas sit and settled, then at the top what comes with, which is essential for nourishment, is a cream of the Veda, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find that, like, soon we'll come to a chapter, it's called Calculation of Time by the Atom. That's a chapter. I went through the chapter from the start and decided that I'm just going for the ride. I'm not trying to grasp anything there because time and space is a little difficult for my brain. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we do find information about creation. We do find information about medicine. We do find information about war. We do find information about atomic science. We do all, and it's a really condensed form. It's in a condensed form. And still, why is it that Vyasadeva decided to give it to us? So that's the question I ask myself. And understanding that the most important thing for us to understand is that this life is insignificant. It doesn't have any significance in terms of our false identification. And that's where it's all stands. And by hearing about the cyclical nature of time, the cyclical nature of creation, annihilation, to see the different level of it, then we have a chance to find that we are insignificant. And that's a qualification for spiritual lives, to have that sense of I am insignificant. And of course, our life is not insignificant. Our life takes all significance when we use it to fulfill the purpose of human life. So what is that purpose also? What is the purpose of human life? Because if there is no purpose to human life, then it feels really empty, isn't it? I often, when I'm in contact with people who don't have a sense of purpose of life and just moving like a hamster in a wheel, moving and doing what they do every day, maybe for some gratification that they hope to get, the illusion of gratification, maybe at the corner or tomorrow or the next day, or maybe once a year for vacation, there is some gratification. However, I'm pained by a sense that this is all that there is to life. Once in a while, some gratification, and most of the time that gratification doesn't even come. So it's very, very painful to imagine to live life without a sense of purpose and a goal, and all the suffering. Like the suffering, material life means suffering. If I look at my life, really, I'm doing that a lot lately. I will say 75% suffering. There was some satisfaction, some fulfillment, some happy moments, but 75% of it is suffering. I'm speaking like the material aspect of life. So 75, and I'm sure I'm very generous. I think it's probably more than that. So it's very, very painful to see suffering in vain, because of my great fortune to have been in contact with Srila Prabhupada, the pure devotee of the Lord, coming here to free me, then those 75%, I could decide, I could make the choice to align them with the purpose of human life. And by such, making them part of the seminar. It's just part of the seminar. I'm taking on that process. It's difficult, I'm kicking and screaming and resisting. And as long as I'm resisting, of course, the suffering is increased. Often suffering is mainly resistance to the suffering. As soon as we stop resisting suffering, that's what experiencing my experience is all about. We bypass the resistance. So as soon as we bypass the resistance to our suffering and surrender to it, then what I found in my life is that suffering somehow lessen. And then not only suffering lessen, suffering become like a platform for self-realization, a platform for the soul coming back to its real, original, constitutional position of lover of Krishna, of being with Krishna. So I'm not going to avoid the purport and the text. I could do that. I could speak for an hour and you will not even know that I'm not speaking about the text. But I want to stay with the text because there is so much to it. So there is principle. There is principle of creation. There is things that happen every day of Brahma. And we just read them in this chapter, like the different creation of, the nose and the smell and the air and the 5 elements, how they manifest and how everything comes from subtle to gross. And that's the principle. The principle is that everything, and the most subtle element, material element, is it's called materialistic ego. Prabhupada said here in the purport, he says, of course, I'm not finding it. Yes, So the creative instruments are 11. So the 11 creative elements are the 5 knowledge acquiring senses, like nose and eyes, and the knowledge, the senses by which we accumulate knowledge, and 5 working senses. I'm not going to go to the list of that. If you want, if that interests you, I'm happy to discuss that later. And then the mind. The mind, we say all the senses are grouped around the mind. So that's 11. 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses. Working senses is the tongues that vibrate, for example, the genitals, like the evacuation, the legs, like the arm working senses. And then the mind, where all the senses are grouped around the mind. And then there is the 5 ingredients, and the 5 ingredients are the gross material element, earth, water, fire, like the 5 elements like that. And they are all here, it says, are all products of Mahat, or materialistic ego. So that's of course, Krishna is the source of everything. He's the source of his part and parcel, the spirit soul. We are part and parcel of Krishna. So Krishna is the source of the part and parcel, and Krishna is the source of creation and the ingredient of creation. So everything really, even the materialistic ego, in a sense, comes from Krishna, and come from the fact that Krishna wants love from his part and parcel. He emanates us for his enjoyment. He just wants to enjoy. So he emanates us for his enjoyment. And when we cease to want to give him enjoyment and want to enjoy for ourselves, then he creates a place for us to go, basically. He creates a place for us to go. And to do that, he doesn't get his hand really dirty. That's what the previous verse says, that he's not the engineer. He's not the engineer. He expands himself. He expands himself first as Brahma, as Balaram Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Vasudev, Pradyumna, and then Narayan, and again Shankarshan, and then you have the Karana Dakashayi Vishnu that we are just hearing about. And the Karana Dakashayi Vishnu, he lay on a causal ocean and he's sleeping. He's in a slumber of dreaming. And that's what we call the Mahakalpa. So we go back to like the beginning. Here we just heard one day of Brahma, and Brahma lived 100 of years, and 100 of years of the life of Brahma is one exhalation of the Mahavishnu. So Einstein has a theory of relativity, and I read something yesterday because I wanted to understand why Srila Prabhupada is speaking about the scientist and time, and really I don't understand, but I know it's have to do something with E equal mc square, and that and the curve in the light, and because of the curve in the light, then time slow down or time go faster. For yesterday was Dear Govinda's birthday, and so here we hear that on a heavenly planet, dear Govinda Prabhu, you will be 2 months old. So let's think about it. So from the demigods, they can look at us. They look at us and they see like, okay, so let's say that someone is 80-year-old and dying is 80 days. That will be 80 days in the life of in the heavenly planet. And the heavenly planet is like the lower stratum of the higher planetary system. Like Brahma is even higher, and the lifespan is multiplied. Yeah, it's 72, I think. And so let's say a human being lives 80-year-old, for example. So from the demigod's perspective, it's 80 days. 80 days is like less than 3 months. What's a big deal? And I was thinking about it. I was told that love bugs, they live 1 day. They live one day. So in one day, Lovebug is born, grows, and in one day get married and have babies and get old and die. And then I was thinking, so when I drive at the Lovebug season, so many Lovebugs crash on my car. It's a problem, it makes my car really dirty. But if I was thinking more, I would be like a demigod and if like the Lovebug were having a ceremony and cry all day, that some Lovebug got killed in the middle of the day, but that Lovebug supposed to just die at the end of the day. Why is it a big deal? Why is it a big deal? That Lovebug, anyways, have one day life. So if my car crashes, from my perspective, why is it a big deal? Similarly, from the point of view of the demigods, our lifespan, which, if we are lucky, 100 years, but more like 80, if we are lucky, but probably it's well lower than that. I think now it's 50 years old, like the average. So what's the big deal? It's just less than 3 months for the demigods. So hearing about the time frame that we are dealing with in the creation and the cycle of all the yugas help us understand how insignificant and may help us detach ourselves from this life, may help us to not take this life so seriously, that I need to be famous, I need to be recognized, I need to be seen, I need to have money, I need to be loved. That if we really take some perspective, like the Lovebug in that one day, even if you don't get that, what's the big deal? So, I don't want to denigrate the value of the life of the Lovebug, because the Lovebug are perfectly situated according to the plan of the Lord. There is no mistake in the universe. The Lovebug, in that journey of that one day, they clear a lot, they purge a lot of the karma that soul carries. What we want to understand is like the material time and space is always movable and cyclic and always movable. And then the spiritual energy is unchangeable. So even when the Lovebug gets smashed into my windshield, the life force in the Lovebug, the soul habiting that Lovebug body, is not smashed by the windshield. It's not going to be burned by fire. It's not going to be like sometimes people, they have those electric things like the bug go and it gets burned. But the soul is not affected by that. The soul is unchangeable. And in the Veda, I need to look at all my quotes because now I'm lost. I was looking for. There is a verse that says, Udasinami vadyaksham dravya jnana kriyatmanam kutastamimam atmanam yovidopni subhananam. He said, anyone who knows that this material body, made of the 5 gross elements, the sense organ, the working senses, and the mind, is simply supervised by the fixed soul, is eligible to be liberated from the material bondage. So here it's clear why we are given so much information. Because if we do understand the unchangeable, like, yes, everything is changeable, time is changeable. Now we are in Kali Yuga, and there was 3 yuga before us. And this Kali Yuga is lasting. I have all those numbers because numbers doesn't stick to my mind. And the Kali Yuga Kali Yuga lasts for 432,000 years. So just realizing that this Kali Yoga, we are in a Kali Yoga just 5,000 years now, and we are very fortunate because there is 1,000 cycle of yugas. Starting with Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, and the old Divya Yuga, that's called Divya Yuga, which is 12. We are seeing 12. 12,000 years in terms of heavenly planet. So 12,000 years in terms of heavenly planet is the Divya Yuga, which is the cycle of those 4 yuga, Satya, Treta, and Dwapara. So in terms of Earth calculation is 4,320,000 years. So that's one yuga. And the life of one circle of yuga. And the life of Brahma is thousands. A day of Brahma, not a life of Brahma, 1,000 of such cycle of yuga. So it's just mind-boggling numbers. And so how insignificant an hour of the human life is, 1 year in human life is. And time is relative. And in my experience, I found time is going as I get older, because each moment in proportion to the life I have lived is a lot smaller. And I found that my life is going a lot faster now. I remember in childhood, one day was so long. It was so, I had so much time to be bored and not knowing what to do. And like it was so, the days were so long, and now was so long. A few days without my mom will be like a year or more. And then now, like 59-year-old, I find like one day, a week goes like a flash. And the months also, months are finished when they just started. So we can see even in our own experience or relativity of time. So I lost my train of thought. So basically, we are looking at the relevance of this information, So we look at a day of Brahma, and within the day of Brahma, there is thousands of cycles of the 4 yugas, which is 4,320,000 years, and thousands of those make a day of Brahma, and Brahma have his months. And here we hear all about the, like as we have name for the days of the week, yeah, Monday, Tuesday. I mean, if a Lovebug was looking at a book that described our week and say, okay, so Lovebug, in a human life, you are just 1 day, and human beings have 7 days per week and 4 weeks per month, and then they have 12 months per year. The Lovebug will say, and it will say, okay, and the day of the week is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The Lovebug will say, what? What's that? I don't understand. This time frame seems like inconceivable. 364 days per year. Yeah, for a Lovebug, it's just like 300 times the life of my 100 years, because for the Lovebug, everything is calculated according to 100 years. So 1 day of the Lovebug is 1 day of us, but it's 100 years of the Lovebug. So similarly, we hear the name of the different days of Brahma and thousands of cycles, and only once in a day of Brahma does Krishna come to have his pastimes. Is that amazing? Only once in the day of Brahma. And out of thousands of cycles, that's a cycle we were born in. So that's a great fortune, to just think that. 1,000 cycles and in 1 day of Brahma, and one time Krishna comes and it's a cycle we are born in. And this a full cycle is more than 4 million years. So what's 60 years? Nothing. So let's give that 60 years for the purpose of human life and come to a place of really understanding that past, present, and future, the linear approach to time is our material conditioning. That in the spiritual sky, time is conspicuous by its absence, and there is only the present moment. Only the present moment that's completely full. So I'm going to go back to my notes because I have so many things that I haven't shared with you. So I'm going to go back. So Srila Prabhupada in purport to Canto 6 and chapter 17 and verse 37, he says, there are innumerable universes. Thus, there are innumerable Brahmas. So even like, so we spoke about time. Now we are speaking about space. I feel very intellectual right now. That's not my nature. But now we are going to speak about space because we think like this Earth is the most important. No. We think America is the most important, isn't it? Like there is, each country, they have their own ego, like common ego. But in America, every American I spoke to was born in America and raised in America. They are deeply convinced that America is the best country, the most evolved country, the most advanced country, the most, you name it. It's ingrained in the conditioning, ingrained deeply in the conditioning. The education is the best, the medical system is the best, everything is the best about America. It's deeply ingrained in an American psyche. And, I'm not picking up on American. If I go to Czech Republic or if I go to France, I know also what's ingrained in them very well because it's in me too. Well, I won't speak about it. I'm just going to pick on American. Now, so yeah, of course, America is best, and then Earth is the only planet, isn't it? That's the only planet that have importance. The only planet where there is human beings that have a brain is the only planet where there is modern life, modern like capability. Probably if there is other planet where there is people living, they don't have a form even, or maybe they are dim form and they don't know anything about anything. So it's just, Bhagavatam is helping us stepping out of our box and saying, no, in fact, in this universe, there is three different planetary systems with unlimited amount of planets, and you're in the middle. You're not at the top. The top is heavenly planet, and the top is Brahma Loka. But you're in the middle. You're not lower either. But in the lower planetary system, they are way more advanced than you are, technologically speaking. They can use their brain in a different way. They don't need electricity. They don't need nuclear. They are way more advanced with technology than we are on the lower planetary system. So learn that too. Bang! It's all meant to crush our false identification, our materialistic ego. All meant for that, for us to be crushed, that we understand, no, Alachua is not the center of the universe.
I'm just going to comment because where you're going with this class is like, it's exactly where Prabhupada when he was in Gainesville, Florida. And that, Hare Krishna. Yes, that when Prabhupada spoke on the Plaza of the Americas in 1971 or so, when he spoke on the Plaza of Americas, he referred to this place, he said, this remote corner of the earth. Can you imagine?
How crushing!
Gainesville, home of the Gators.
Oh God! People from all over the world.
He would refer to it as this remote corner, as if it was insignificant. Didn't understand, it's like the center of the universe.
He didn't understand.
So, and like, I don't know that Prabhupada used that term at India. He gave thousands of lectures, but specifically here in the lecture account, he used the term this remote corner of the earth.
Yeah.
Maybe detect some resentment in my voice.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, because if you go to the University of Florida, UF, the Gators, they were like top football player for so many decades. It's obvious that UF is the best university in the world. Not simply America, not simply Florida, but like UF and Gator and it's all around Gantry. I never seen that anywhere else.
That's because you've never been to a place with real culture.
I know. And there was in Gantry and someone had a orange bicycle and then blue shirt and an orange hat and everything was matching. That's how identification runs so deep, like so deep. So I imagine Srila Prabhupada picked up on that.
Apparently
he did pick up on that, and then he crushed that. So there's so many universes. So just like if we stay with one universe, one Earth, there is places where medical system is way more advanced than America. There's places where people are more cultured than in America. Yeah. They knew before the pandemic to take their shoes off when they enter a house. They knew that. Can you imagine? That's inconceivable. So not only Earth, but so many planetary systems just in one universe with one Brahma. And guess what? Our universe is the smallest out of unlimited amount of universe. Srila Prabhupada gave an example that he said the cosmic material manifestation is just one corner of the spiritual sky. So it's 25% of spiritual sky. And in that 25%, there is unlimited amount of universe. He said, describe is like if you take a bag of mustard seeds, and that's the number of universe. So we are one mustard seed. But not only we are within one mustard seed, but we are within the smallest mustard seed. That the universe we are in here with the head being Lord Brahma with 4 heads is the smallest in cosmic manifestation. Oh, crushing too. And the Brahmas have many heads. And the Brahma from this universe is a Brahma who has the least head. Once Brahma, he went to Dwarka. He went to Dwarka and he knocked on the door, because there was gate. Dwarka was a fort, so it was all gated. And he knocked on the door. And then the guard of the door came and said, okay, who are you and what do you want? He said, please go and tell Lord Krishna that Lord Brahma has arrived. And so the gatekeeper, he went to Lord Krishna and said, someone at the door, and he said, Lord Brahma arrived. And so Lord Krishna responded, I may have missed some part of the story, but Lord Krishna responded, which Brahma is that? And so he went back to Brahma and he says, the doorkeeper went back to Brahma and said, Lord Krishna is asking, which Brahma is that? And so Lord Brahma, he was puzzled. He was very, very puzzled. And he said, what do you mean? Brahma, the creator of this universe. What do you mean? I'm married Lachine. What do you mean? The co-founder of Sattva Institute. I'm married Lachine. So he said, okay, tell him the authority Brahma. As if I didn't need to say that. And so he was accepted, and then he went to Lord Krishna and he asked, why did you ask which Brahma? There's only one Brahma here. And then Lord, all of a sudden, like unlimited amount of Brahma came. And some had 8. Our Brahmas just have 4. Our Brahma, it's like Keter, Brahma. It's our team. And some had 88. And some had 808. And then Lord Brahma, he understood. He understood. And we want to understand too, like Lord Brahma. I'm not that important. There is no point of taking my life so seriously. It's like a life box. It's like not even a flash in Brahma's life. Like when Brahma also, there's so many stories about Brahma around time, space. And so once Brahma, he wanted to play a trick on Krishna. And he decided, this little Krishna is puffed up, like Atma Magnetic Jagat. He could see in Krishna what was true about himself. Like he said, oh, this little Krishna is so puffed up. Everybody's worshipping him. Everybody's chanting his glories. They are all speaking about Krishna all the time in Vrindavan. And he's so great, so wonderful. And Lord Brahma wanted to show his mystic power. And so he went to Vrindavan and he kidnapped all Krishna's cowherd boyfriend and all the calf and cow of Krishna. He kidnapped Krishna and the cowherd boys. They were just playing peacefully. They just had killed Agasura and they were just enjoying themselves. And then Lord Brahma came. He played a trick, like one of the cow went away and Krishna said, oh, you stay here, I will go get it. And Krishna got lost. And then during that time, he took them all and he put them in the cave. And then he came back to see the fun. But when he came back and to see the fun, he saw that Krishna was with all his cowherd boyfriends and all the cows and the calf were all there. So he was very confused. And what's really happened for Krishna and the inhabitant of Vrindavan is that a full year had passed. By the time Brahma came back in a moment to see the fun, 1 year on earth had passed. And during that year, Lord Krishna expanded himself as all the cowherd boys, because he knew all of them, they are his part and parcel. He expanded himself as all cows and all the calf and all the cowherd boys. And of course, the pastime is such that because Krishna directly, they were so much in love with their children, because their children now were a direct expansion of Krishna. I just read it.
Okay.
And of course, I didn't read any of my notes since it's time to go. So the time relativity and understanding, by understanding the purpose of human life, by understanding those dimensions of space and time, by really absorbing ourselves in them, we have an opportunity to develop that kind of humility that's so conducive for us to let go of that body, to let go of that identification, because at the core of the Mahatattva is materialistic ego. So when we can dissolve the materialistic ego, we also dissolve all the elements of the Mahatattva, all the elements of the first creation, where all the elements are kind of aggregated together. And then the Vikalpa, which is when they are separated within the universe through Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and the birth of Brahma happens there. And then the Kalpa, which is Brahma every day, every morning when he wakes up, he has a lot of work to do. He's starting from scratch each day. Each day is very occupied, is very busy. And he starts his day, like we have seen, by manifesting, the elements, by with the co-creation with Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and his desire. So by understanding time and space and how they are both relative, that we understand also that the spiritual universes, they are beyond our limitation of our material space and time. And we don't belong in a place of limitation. We don't belong in a place that have past, present, and future, the limitation. We don't belong to that box. And by understanding that, then we have an opportunity to go in a place where there is no past, present, and future, that eternal time, in a place where there is no limitation of space either. So whatever is happening in the material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. And in the spiritual world, it's almost opposite of the material world in terms of space and time. I didn't share any of mine. So we don't belong here, and through the knowledge of the Bhagavatam, through hearing about the 4 yugas, the time frame, the cycle, through hearing Sankhya philosophy of the 5 elements, the senses, the organs, by hearing about their correlation, then we get to let go of our false pride. We get to let go of our false identification, our materialistic ego, and we get to absorb ourselves in the eternal realm. Yesterday we were reading Krishna book with the lady group, reading group. That was really, really, really nice. We are reading about the killing of Shishupal and our Shishupal got liberation. And yeah, we enter during those hours of reading. Often we share pearl at the end, and often pearls go around that time of timelessness. As we absorb ourselves in the pastime of Krishna, as we hear about Krishna, as we more and more repeat what we hear, and also absorb ourselves in mantra yoga, chanting the mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare. We can step out of the Mahatattva to enter the realm of pure devotional service by making our every moment of life very significant when offered to the Supreme Personality of God. So I'm going to stop here. I am tu brahmana kalpa savikalpa udalitaha vida sadhano yatra sarvopakrita vaikritaha. This process of creation and annihilation described in summary herein in the regulative principle during the duration of Brahma's one day. This process, okay, is described in summary. Okay, it is also the regulative principle of in the creation of Mahat, in which the material nature is dispersed. Hare Krishna. I'm looking forward to hear your comments, sharing, realization, questions. Yes, back to Drew.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for Krishna's arrangement that Dear Govinda asked you to give this class, which you may at a different time have been like, of all the verses or texts. I'm grateful for that, because when we were reading the Sanskrit and the translation, I was like, I didn't get anything of like that initial like translation. I was like, wow, what? And then the purport, it was, I felt like I was just like kind of giving up. I was just like, I don't know that there's anything here for me. And if there's nothing here for me, then there must just not be anything here. Why is this like a verse that we're reading? And then it's funny enough, I started the class, it's just like, so what? Like, and Yeah, I think that I'm experiencing this appreciation for the class because I found it to be so supportive in seeing how I fit in and just like how, yeah, you were speaking to the like just how small and insignificant our like my life actually is. And at the same time, what I appreciated is that this life has like the potential to carry significance when dovetailed to the service of Krishna, when connected to purpose. And yeah, I think I appreciated it because I've had the experience where like I want to say like 99.9%, like maybe something like very significant part of my life is like suffering. And then like the parts that maybe aren't suffering, I'm still like, that's why I almost want to say 100%, because like even when I'm not maybe like suffering, I'm like in some way suffering about that mentally or emotionally, like I'm anxious. I'm like hankering or anxious about the next moment, or if I'm enjoying something, when is this going to end? Or I want more, and then because I want more and I keep going, it becomes suffering. So it just like it feels like so much suffering. And I think that what I appreciate so much about Krishna consciousness and just the process of like chanting, devotional service, and singing is that they're like, and being in class, there are like little glimpses of like what human life actually is about, and what it like, where like what the opportunity is in this human life. And only recently have I realized like, wow, I really wanted to know that at different times in my life. And at different times in my life, I kind of felt like I just like gave up and was just like trying to like find some form or sense of satisfaction. And like, I just feel so fortunate that I happened upon really delicious prasadam at the University of Florida, and then like ended up finding Sopratov because now I'm getting to like, yeah, experience this like having this like humbling experience. That's what I have to say about that. I'm feeling humbled and appreciative for the class because I wouldn't have gotten anything without all this research and explanation that you gave. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take credit for that. Yes, Malini, of course.
Thank you, Drew. And so we can see that the land of the gator and UF have significance because of the prasadam distribution that's going on for
over 50 years.
50 years, something like that, yeah. So that's the significance of that place for sure, from Krishna's perspective, from the cosmic perspective, there is significance of the University of Florida, and we can make our life significant like that. And the interesting fact is, as you said, like our life, I appreciate your honesty, 99%, and maybe 100%, maybe the 1% left is like the absence of suffering, which we can imagine maybe it is happiness. And spiritual life requires that honesty. Spiritual life requires that, yeah, this is miserable. This is really miserable existence. Because as long as we have any illusion that I can be happy or can make myself happy, then we are going to, like maybe chew a little bit on spiritual life, but like one foot there and one foot here. And then we are going to continue to experience anxiety, because this world is kunta. Kunta means anxiety. So the material world, another name for the material world is kunta, anxiety. And then the spiritual world is called Vaikunta, a place without anxiety. So from that perspective of understanding time and space, elements, from all that, then we can live in Vaikuntha. We can live in a place where we are fearless of whatever will come. Come. I'm ready for it. You know, like in the Salvative courses, people are not in anxiety, or maybe they are some, you know, oh, what next process coming? I'm so scared of the next process. Well, most of the time, people are curious, like the spirit of discovery. Wow, we are entering the training room. What will be next? What's the next process? And let's see what the next process bring me. Where I go internally, where I go with Krishna, where I go like that. And so fearless doesn't mean that nothing is going to happen in our life. Fearless means like we embrace whatever is coming, and then there is no fear. We are ready. Okay, war can come. Yeah, okay. We'll see what the war will bring. Or disease could come. All that is going to come. Disease are going to come. Death is going to come. So that we know about those processes, and to look forward to them, to be in a place of wonder and discovery. I wonder what my death is going to bring me of self-realization. I wonder what my death is going to bring me in terms of feeling the relationship with Krishna. I look forward to that day where this, you know, process happened in my life. Like to really, we have an opportunity to be fearless in that way, and you appreciate that you were in that question. What's that about? And in reading Bhagavatam, I am learning to approach every verse with that spirit that it's really important. Whoever is speaking, here is Sukadev Goswami speaking. If it's Sutta Goswami, Maitreya Rishi, Uddhava, anyone, if they ask question or if they respond to the question, every verse of the Bhagavatam is important and significant. There is no verses that don't belong there, because if they didn't belong there, they will not be there. Yesterday, Vyasada was in complete samadhi, in his maturity, in his old age, like thinking of like what will serve the people of Kali Yoga. He gave us Bhagavatam, not with some those verses are significant, those are not. This is not really important. This is every verse. And if we approach that, every verse like that, even if we don't get it intellectually, I don't get it intellectually in a sense, at the same time, I can feel the purification, and I can feel it's really relevant to my life, to speak about the Kalpa, to speak about Vikalpa, Mahakalpa, to speak about all the days in a month of Brahma. I know it's significant. I know it's really for me to make progress towards Krishna.
Yeah, I'm just getting so much from what you're sharing, because it's just like, it's like absorption as far as Krishna consciousness goes, just it's so like attractive and just like wonderful. Yesterday, it was like a young lady who was like, oh, I'm so sorry that I didn't like, you know, I felt bad, like I was sitting down and like taking prasadam and like as it was just like, thank you for your sacrifice. and like I think there was some like lightness and playfulness in saying that, and at the same time, like there's truth to that. Like it's like it's a sacrifice and it's a service to receive someone else's service, like to receive prasadam, and it's an exchange of love. And I just, I don't know, for some reason I'm just like really wanting to be immersed, and I'm really just like enthused, but I don't want to like fizzle out, because I want like real enthusiasm, the like, you know, like pursuit with intelligence, that kind. And I'm just feeling so grateful, in particular to you, Malini, and dear Govinda, just such sincere devotees. And I'm really seeing that now after like years of being in your association and having gotten to associate with others, and just seeing like the quality and the depth that can come from being in your association. And I'm just like, I'm really just, that's what I'm seeking now in life, is like, how can I be absorbed? Because the thing is not making lots of money through massage therapy or whatever. It's just like, I I just really want to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness, and like I want to meet my quota, and I want to support my daughter Prema in her life in Krishna consciousness.
in achieving prema.
Yeah, like I would like that, and at the same time, I don't want to, become attached to like what happens. Like I know it's her responsibility. So yeah, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share. I'm feeling inspired, and I'm not wanting to fizzle out. I'm just like really wanting to be absorbed, and so I'm so grateful for this class.
You feel inspired, you feel enthused in Krishna consciousness, you feel grateful for Krishna consciousness, for the process of Bhakti Yoga, Srila Prabhupada gave us. You want to take it seriously in your life, and you don't want to be simply elated. Like, oh, I had a great time, and I have a great state because states are coming, and then going to the process of grounded practices. Even when I don't feel enthused, even when I'm not feeling elated, even when I'm not feeling anything, but I know I keep going because I understand with my intelligence that this is the best way to use my human life. That anything else is empty. It's really empty. It's like milking yesterday we read in a purport, milking the nipple of the goat under their neck. That it's empty. Material life is empty, and you really have a direct experience of that. That if you really just give yourself to make money and develop your practice and family life, that it's very, very painful and empty. And when you bring the one in front of the zeros, then everything becomes really valuable, like extremely valuable, precious,
meaningful,
satisfying. And I hear like you're ready to be steady and grounded in your practice, regardless what's happened, to remember. To remember Krishna, to remember why you are here, to remember that, you have moments also of elation and enthusiasm, and where you feel so connected to Bhakti Yoga. And that moment without it are going to come too. And that it doesn't matter. Because it's not about what it is about. It's about deeply understanding that, this life, it's a flash. In Lord Brahma's, from Lord Brahma's perspective, it's a flash. It's just a little flash. And from the perspective of the soul, because as part and parcel of Krishna, we are not limited by time or space. And from, if we focus on the soul, like that says a verse in the Bhagavatam, to make the self as master, and only the self as master, to act, to make decision, to decide what I do in my life, with my master being the soul, not my master being my covering, my identification as Jew or Mary, or to not make the master being, that persona or cartoon character, to be the master, like what's conducive for that soul emancipation, the same way that you want to do that for Prema. You want to support Prema to make sure that she you want to be a responsible father, and at least on your side you did what's in your power to do for Prema, to achieve Prema. And of course there's no guarantee. And to do the same for ourselves, to take ourselves, see ourselves as the spirit soul having a human experience, and focus and as the master of our life, be the self, not the covering.
And one thing that you were saying at one point, you were like, why are we taking this life so seriously? Like, and I love that because it's just like a little dramas I make so serious. Like, you said this, and like, oh, I really felt like that, and you did this so many years ago, and I haven't forget. And it's just like, and so that's what was so powerful for me, is just like, wow, it's so small and it's so insignificant. And more importantly, is like taking like the purpose of our life seriously, not taking the drama that I like create, or that I experience, or that I like make up so seriously. Taking the purpose of life seriously, not the drama. And that was powerful for me to hear, because I make the drama take that, I've been taking that very seriously.
Very absorbing. I'm
Very
like you,
absorbing.
very, very absorbing. I don't need to practice to absorb myself in my drama. I don't need to chant in the morning. There is no practice. It just happened. It just happened. I'm absorbing the drama. And like, no, if I could be absorbed in Krishna consciousness, in Krishna's pastime, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the way I'm absorbing my drama, that would be success.
Yeah, right, totally. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's come to the conversation. So, yeah, Prabhupada would say, okay, there's four basic problems. The problem of eating, the problem of sleeping, the problem of mating or sex, and the problem of defending or fearing. And he said, and the worst is the fearing, the defending, because he said sometimes the eating problem might be resolved temporarily, but like, no, I'm full, I don't want more food. Same with sleeping problem and mating problem. Sometimes it's resolved temporarily. He said, but even if everything's resolved and we've got it all handled, we're fearing what's the next problem?
Yeah.
What's the next problem? Where I've got it, but someone's going to take it away. So he said the fearing problem that's in material life, that's constantly there.
Kunta,
Anxiety.
thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. We never secure, even if we get all this, the eating, mating, sleeping, the defending is always there. Always need to defend ourselves somehow. Defend ourselves is really try to protect the false ego. Hi Krishna. Yeah, Vishnu.
I just wanted to say, I always experience Elisha County as a remote part of the world.
Coming from someone from Oklahoma, I'll have to consider.
Hi Krishna.
What did he say? I couldn't hear.
He said, I always experienced Alachua County as a remote corner of the world. Until he came here. He didn't say that, but I'm saying it for him. Thank you all for listening and for chanting the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh, there's some chat.
We welcome you to stay for Prashada. Right.
Jai, Haribol. It wasn't Ladini's experience. It was the seminar. Hare Krishna. Haribol, everyone.